Hello. So, it's been a while. What's up? How's it going? I disappeared, got a little busy, but pretty good. I have a new job, so I'm working a lot, which means I'm making a lot of money. Pretty good money for once in my life. My goodness, took me a while. But let's talk about what happened. Now, I have made some friends, which is really nice because I'm in a new city. I am friends with two women, two little women. And one of them is from Spain slash UK, so she's mixed. The other one is Brazilian, and she lives here with her partner, with her girlfriend. So far, friendship is pretty nice, but a bit hectic, I think, for my liking. I think we only hang out because there's an event happening, and I'm seeing it more as I want someone to go with me to do this thing. With the Brazilian one, we actually talk a lot, which I appreciate because I'm a more of an intimate person. I don't want to hang out with you just because there's an event and we can both attend and just keep keep ourselves company and not go there alone, which is problematic for me. But on the other hand, I'm also realizing that the other one has kind of disappeared for a while because there are things happening, and for me, it's like I don't even know you anymore. So it's gonna probably take me a while to get to open up to you again. A while for me, it's kind of like a couple of minutes maybe. But yeah, like the friendship I'm seeing, and this is where most women talk about, like you have a little bit of a different type of friendships between women than between men. And I'm digging a little bit of one, not the other. I don't enjoy the friendship of I am your friend, so we can go hang out and do things together, but then I don't want to talk to you, or I'm not texting, and then yeah, like things happen in my life, and then it's like, oh yeah, I didn't tell you. I'm like, yeah, you didn't tell me. You don't tell me anything because you don't want to talk, and you use this excuse of like, I don't use my phone, I don't talk to people, I'm not that kind of person, and kind of disconnect yourself from intimate relationships, and then go look for more and more and more and more friends, and eventually not find what you're looking for. Kind of problematic. The other one, though, I really enjoy her vibe. But let's come back into endocrinology transitioning. So my endocrinologist is clueless of what's happening with trans people. This woman wants to lower my dose to like 50 or 100, which, if you look at it, it's like the cis range when they have a period, which is like the lowest they have, or kind of on that range, because cis women have their estrogen and progesterone rising and falling all the time. So their estrogen goes from 50 or 20 all the way to 200, 300, 400, depending on different women, different doses. So this endocrinologist wants to take me down, and I'm like asking, why would she do this? And I'm finding out that she just literally is giving me the same dose that she would give a menopausal woman, someone who's just kind of trying to survive and trying to just not crash. And I'm like, I'm not trying to not crash, I'm trying to grow. So eventually, she put me on this small dose, and I kind of had some drop, like I felt depressed because the hormones are changing. And then I started seeing my hair getting coarser and my body growing much faster. And I freaked out and started injecting myself a lot more with what I have. And I pretty much overdosed again. Not exactly overdosed, but like, yeah, I was fuller, like my prolactin did not drop, which means I had like some milk sometimes shooting out of my breasts randomly. It's weird. At first, you're like, ooh, cool, cute, but it's been happening for more than a year, and high prolactin is pretty much related to um, stopping your feminization, pretty much, because your body is now being dedicated to creating milk because it's thinking you're pregnant. So it's not going to do anything else. Also, on top of this, you start getting bloated and you start feeling swollen. So, and that kind of made me a little happy because, for example, my face was rounder, my legs were rounder, my feet were rounder, my hands were rounder, because I had a lot of estrogen and a lot of prolactin. So my, like a pregnant woman, my body was just reacting to it as, "Ooh, let's fill you up with water and food." But mostly it was water retention. So it was not like great puffiness, but it made me look more feminine, at least more round instead of more sharp. And I kind of liked that and I kind of enjoyed it. And the same thing with my breasts. My breasts were fuller, and you could actually wear a bra and stuff. Now I don't wear bras because I dropped my dose again after seeing that my prolactin was still at 900, 900. I mean, at 90 something. And I decided, not good. We need to drop. So here's the issue. Monotherapy is very, very good because one, using an androcore, which is an anti-androgen, like testosterone blocker, would usually affect your pituitary gland, meaning it could affect your mood, and most likely it will affect your mood because many people on um, androcore tend to have more depressive states and higher prolactin because prolactin is also associated in that same area in your brain. Now, so I dropped this anti-androgen knowing that I only have to consume one thing and it doesn't go through my liver. I inject it into my fat, so no skin, no whatever. And it's slowly absorbed into my body, right? So the issue was I read that in order to switch to monotherapy, I'm going to have to increase my estrogen dose a lot. So I talked to my so-called friends who are also two trans women who transferred to monotherapy, and I asked them, what are you doing? And they told me, well, instead of doing your 4 milligram a week, you try to double it almost. So they were doing 7 milligrams a week. I did 8 milligrams a week because I was terrified my testosterone was going to shoot again. Even though I'm actually older than them, they're 20 and 18-year-old, and I'm 31 right now. So my body and my testosterone are not shooting the same way. They're not pumping me like I used to when I was a teenager. Even when I was a teenager, I don't think I had like that much testosterone. Like I was never hairy. I never had like facial hair, and I was soft. I never had like libido issues. Like I never was sexual. I wasn't interested in anyone. I had mostly women interested in me, and then I was like, okay, I think maybe I'm more on the, what do you call those? Yeah, I don't know. I like people who dominate. Literally, like I really don't care. I probably prefer male genitalia at this point. But if you're a woman and if you're a female, whatever you identify as, if you're dominating, you can take me around, show me around, tell me to come with you and do things, then you got it. I'm all yours. Um, but back to the endocrinology stuff. So I injected myself with 8 milligrams of estradiol enanthate in the in the thighs, which gave me 244 estrogen level at trap. Like that's the lowest point. Then, meaning my peaks were probably around 400, maybe 350, maybe a bit more. And that was a problem because 400 with my prolactin issues, that is also stimulating my prolactin. So me switching to monotherapy thinking my prolactin is going to drop, it actually didn't drop. Instead, now I'm realizing I actually did not need to change my dose to an 8 milligram or a 7 milligram. I am literally back to my regular dose of 4 milligrams of estradiol enanthate into the fat in my thigh once a week. And I used to do this with an anti-androgen, and then I just literally dropped the anti-androgen. What I did was double my dose, and now I'm coming back to that same dose just without an anti-androgen, thinking, wow, actually, this works. I don't actually need anti-androgen. I don't need to increase my estrogen dose. And I think it works better for me because what I understand from monotherapy, so if you're trying monotherapy, check this out. It's not about how high your dose is, it's about how your trout is in relation to your testosterone. So if you're going to monotherapy with the estrogen injections, recommendable, or if you do it with sprays, with gels, or whatever, all you need is literally to keep your trout, which means your lowest estrogen level, to be above 100 or 120 pgml. Right. So if you keep your doses above 100 without anti-androgen, with your estrogen being above 100, then you will definitely be fine. So it's not about how high your estrogen has to be, it's about how low is it in comparison. Because what's happening with monotherapy is your brain is thinking, oh, shoot, we have so much estrogen, we do not need to, start pumping out testosterone. So that's what I understand. But what I have been realizing is that I increased my dose, obviously, because of my other friends who are younger. And for them, they did 7 milligrams once a week. And one of them told me, like, she could still feel there's testosterone coming at the end, like on the day 6 or day 5 or the day of the injection, right? So, like, she could feel her testosterone creeping in and it gives her a little bit of dysphoria. And I'm like, oop, I'm gonna avoid this. I'm gonna add from 7 to an 8, which is not much of a change if you do it like the injection part. But I'm realizing for her, that 7 milligram a week gave her a trout of 140, 150, and it gave me a trout of 240 or 250, let's say, right? And I'm like, why did I get more? And she was just like, fine. One, she's younger, so her testosterone is probably pushing a lot more, and like her body is digesting it differently. Also, she's been doing it for a while, and yeah, like her whole body is different. She already looks like a woman to me, honestly. She got all the body, the curves, no muscles, which I'm very jealous of. So maybe that's why, like, her body's already balanced in that sense. For me, though, I'm not running on estrogen or testosterone. I'm running on prolactin for some reason. So my body was kind of like, we don't digest estrogen as much as you think. So a little bit goes a long way for you, Freya. So I had to wait. I had to lower my dose, and I've been on this 4 milligram. Actually, I started with 3.2 milligrams because I was very scared of this freaking prolactin. It's hanging out with me for a year and a half right now. My transition is on hold, like my feminization, all of it's kind of on hold because of this. Like, I'm not seeing anything. My body's not changing. And it did change a little bit when I fixed my vitamin D, but that's it. All you see here is just makeup and clothing, which is great. Otherwise, I'll lose my mind. But I'm also noticing that I dipped really quickly to 3.2, 3.4 milligrams from 8 milligrams. And I was depressed, like, for a couple of days, start crying. Well, at least trying to cry, because honestly, if you're not estrogen dominant, then your body, it's harder for me to cry. And it's like a lot of people think men should cry more. It's like, yeah, men cannot cry. Like, it's just the endocrinologist, the endocrine system in their body, it just doesn't work that way. So I'm trying, cry, just being depressed, singing songs, trying anything to make me cry, but I couldn't. Just like stay sad for a whole week. I think it was unbearable, honestly. It was kind of like a period without the bleeding, honestly. Like, whenever I look at myself, it just felt ugly. Whenever I just want to eat and avoid mirrors and avoid people and don't want to talk and barely work. And um, I felt deflated also because, the dip from the high estrogen prolactin to more than half of that. I think it was good for me to bring my doses lower, which is good. But then I started realizing, well, hair started appearing again, which means testosterone is pumping again. So I raised it from 3.4 to what I'm at now, 4 or 4.2 or 4.4. Like, that's kind of my level. Because with the injection, the difference between those is literally like 1 milliliter slash 1.1 milliliter. So sometimes it's like I cannot even make it perfect, which is not a big deal, honestly, because it's not that high. But I've been on this for 2, 3 weeks right now. My issue is I took a quarter pill of Angicor literally on Wednesday, like 5 days ago. And I actually noticed my nipples, my breasts are being tingly. And I'm thinking, oh, shoot, could that tiny little bit of Angicor affected my prolactin? I read about it, it says yes, and I kind of started playing with my breasts and see, and because sometimes if I squeeze them, milk comes out. And a little bit of milk kind of came out, and I'm like, oh no, so I got a little depressed yesterday and seeing all this. But then I kind of went and I felt them again. I'm like, well, they feel very deflated. I can barely hold them. This is why I'm not even wearing bras anymore. And then I kind of did it again. Like, it takes a lot more pressure for me to squeeze so that something comes out. And not all of it is actually like that milk stuff. Most of it is just white liquid. And then I think the milky stuff is kind of a deposit from a long time ago that's still stuck there, right? So I could squeeze it out and just kind of let everything refresh. But for me right now, it's literally barely there. And like I used to have a lump. Now it kind of feels like an empty skin thingy. Up in the past with my high prolactin, it used to be like a sponge, like something thick you can hold. But my endocrinologist doesn't even know estradiol enanthate exists. It doesn't even know monotherapy exists. It doesn't even know what trends doses exist right now in 2025. So yeah, like when I talked to her a couple of days ago, she kind of freaked out. She's like, "I told you about this. You were supposed to lower it," and I'm like, "Yeah, I did what you told me." But then you gave me a small dose and everything was off, and then I started hair started coming up. So I'm like, I over injected myself because I did not trust what you were doing. And that got me to actually overdose somehow because I was freaking out. Like I trusted you and then you kind of messed up everything because I had my testosterone shooting up again. And then I'm like, let me go double down on my dose. But she signed me off with like a whole year revision. So now she's not going to see me until like next year, literally next October 2026, which is a bit, if you think about it, irresponsible, right? Because my levels are still high, like my prolactin is high, my estrogen is high, and her dose was very low. Like she told me, even 150 for her is too high. Like 100 is kind of okay, but it needs to be between 50 and 100. I'm like, I don't want to be between 50 and 100. Sorry, no. But eventually, I think she was kind of gave up. She let me sign a little piece of paper saying, "You're responsible if something happens to you." And I'm like, "Yes, I am responsible if something happens to me." And in this case, I talked to some people on Reddit, and I think I'm trying to find an endocrinologist online who knows how to do monotherapy. But technically, I don't need to do that for a while. I need to stay with the same dose. My issue is culo inquieto, meaning I just keep changing. I'll never stick with one thing and just stay there. I always have to change. Like, oh, nothing's happening. Let me change it. Oh, let me, like, I'm a creative person, so I need to change and create all the freaking time. And it's a problem because I need to stick to this one regimen for a very long time, if not forever. So now I'm just going to keep taking the same dose. And I also improved the way I inject because in the past, when I did with the fat injections, I used to pinch my skin and blood cells with the fat and inject through the skin. So most of that was actually lost. And I kept bleeding and I did not know. And I'm realizing I don't even have fat. So all I'm injecting is actually just like a tiny little pinch, tiny little bump, and I injected it. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Nothing's coming out, no blood, no pain. And then it felt more correct. So now I've been doing this for a while. Yeah. So that's me. I don't know. What do you think with all the drama? You cannot see these, but look at these. Aren't these just the cutest? I think they're cute. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Probably get some food. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Let me know if you have tried monotherapy or if you're into endocrinology or if you know anything about what's happening because my endocrinologist is useless, honestly. But I am trying to just talk to people who've been through the same thing. Most people tell me 4 or 5 milligrams is good. Like if you have prolactin issues, I could kind of split this 4 or 5 milligrams instead of once a week into like 2 times a week. And this kind of is going to lessen my peaks. So instead of having a peak of like 4 or 5 milligrams, I'll have like a peak of 2 milligrams twice a week, which is going to make my, my level stay between 100, 200 all the time instead of like shoot to 200 and 300 and then drop to 150. I might do that, but for now, I'm actually seeing changes and it feels good. I'm kind of not depressed anymore, so that's great news. But yeah, I'm still a bit upset of wasting a whole year and a half, honestly. But then I also look at women when I walk outside and I'm looking at them, it's like, wow, like how old are you? 50, 60? And they're curved and they're beautiful and they're happy. Their skin is amazing. And I'm thinking, wow, like if I started, let's say, because for me, I just started transition this year. Like I wasted a whole year because my vitamin D was off and my hormones were off. But like this year, I'm 31 and I'm starting technically correctly. And if I do it for 4 years, I'll be like 35. And I look at women who are 35, I'm like, oh, you look amazing actually. So that kind of makes me calm down a little bit and not get a little too upset. Okay, I'm gonna go. I like this. I'm giving a bit like cyberpunk. You can tell I'm sad, right? Like the darkness. It's just I'm lazy. Like I just kind of like this shirt because it has this like long turtleneck thingy. But I'm gonna go. See y'all later.